Can we all go back to the timeline where Miss Pac-Man was still a thing? That'd be nice. And also, can we also bring back Junior Pac-Man? That poor kid got an even bigger shaft than his mother. And whatever dirty thoughts just came to mind right now is totally on you, you sick puck. So once upon a time there was a game called Pac-Man by Namco. And then Midway got the license to distribute Pac-Man in America, which somehow gave them the idea that they could make their own Pac-Man games. So they eventually begat Ms. Pac-Man, which became part of official Namco canon until eventually wasn't. But another game that Midway put out that never even got that much was Junior Pac-Man, which changed the game further by having mazes that were bigger than the one screen, among other things. Junior Pac-Man only got one home port for the Atari 2600 and never saw the light of day again. However, in 2009, 7800 homebrewing person Bob DiCrescenzo introduced the world to Junior Pac-Man on Atari 7800, which was a more arcade-accurate conversion that recycled the sounds from the old 2600 port. Unfortunately, original vendor Atari Age stopped selling this thing years ago, and so if you want a physical card of this game, eBay and presumably some deep pockets is the way to go. Otherwise, your only other option is dabbling in the evil art of emulation, and that's a shame because this is quite a feast of a game. Junior Pac-Man follows the same formula as its predecessors. As the junior of the Pac family, you have to clear the maze of dots while avoiding the ghosts. You still collect power pellets to turn ghost sploots and eat them for bonus points, and you could still collect the bouncing toys that appear on occasion for more bonus points. It's pretty standard fare except for the fact that these mazes have no wraparound routes for quick escapes, and the bouncing toys can destroy any power pellets it touches, as well as turn small dots into fat dots that will slow Junior down whenever he eats them. These are some of the minor changes made to the formula to complement the one major change being that the mazes are now 3 screens wide, which means scrolling to the left or right if you want to grab everything in a maze. I guess the best comparison I give you would be playing Pac-Man on Game Boy or a similar handheld format, where you're only given a partial view of the maze due to the full resolution graphics deployed, and this makes the game a bit more challenging because you don't know where the ghosts are or how they're going to approach you until you see them. The game gives you 6 power pellets per maze, which sounds like a boost but really isn't, especially since a bouncing bonus can destroy any power pellet it touches, as well as enlarge any dots to slow down your munchies. On top of that, the game plays a bit quicker than its predecessors, and by the 4th or 5th maze, power pellets aren't quite as effective as they are in the beginning. All of this makes Junior Pac-Man a much more challenging game compared to its parents, and it might not be to everyone's taste because those games were simple, straightforward, everything was right in front of you, and you figured this game with a kid protagonist would be even easier because, kid as the playable character, you aim it for kids or whatever. Nah. Junior Pac-Man knows nothing but pain. Fortunately, this is Junior Pac-Man on Atari 7800. You have difficulty switches that you could toggle whether you start with 3 lives or 5, so you've got a little help there. Hell, the game includes a teddy bear maze that is much slower than the rest of the game if you want to acclimate yourself to this strange forgotten world. And really, while there are enough differences to make this game distinct, the gameplay is still very familiar and old hat. It's not a drastic departure like Super Pac-Man was with its doors and keys, or Pac-and-Pal or Pac-Pal, whatever it was with its whatever that's supposed to be. You jump in, you notice some new things, but the core of it remains the same. And yes, control is as slick as it ever was with the previous games, assuming you're using a half-decent controller on hand, which, yeah, I went pro-line with this one. I don't know why, but yeah, this thing has clearly seen better days. The graphics in Junior Pac-Man are pretty good. Naturally, not a whole lot to the presentation. Variety of colorful mazes and dots over a black background. The ghosts look the same as they do in previous Pac titles in 7800. The scrolling's actually pretty smooth. Junior has his little spinny propeller thing on the beanies, even on the live counter, which is nice. And all the cutscenes seem to be present and accounted for. The 7800 port pretty much recycles the sound output from the 2600 version of Junior Pac-Man. There's some differences here and there, maybe some additions, but both versions share the same batch of jingles, sound effects, and whatnots, which makes sense since both consoles share similar sound processing. Fortunately, the sound output of the 2600 version of Junior Pac-Man, pretty good, and the new jingles are very endearing, so yeah, Pokey chip for the new version would have been nice for that enhanced sound, but Pokey is expensive, so you get this, and this ain't too bad. Overall, Junior Pac-Man is a fun yet challenging little game and a rather sublime home conversion of an arcade title that you'll most likely never see a re-release of ever again due to its dubious status as an unauthorized Pac-Man release. and even less so now that we can't even get a new Miss Pac-Man port on modern platforms, which makes me so angry I just want to punch a puppy.
We need to teach you how to sell a punch. I tried.
But in all seriousness, Junior Pac-Man was done good on 7800, which shouldn't be surprising considering the guy behind the wheel has made plenty of great homebrews on the system. It's just unfortunate that this version isn't available for sale anymore because it would have been a nice addition to the 7800 library, and copies on eBay are... which means your only other option for playing this thing would be through emulation, which is fine, but then again, if you're going to go that route, you may as well go for the arcade version, which is also becoming something of a forgotten relic, and my voice is about to die. So yeah, this made me sad. And what's even worse is that our next game is going to be even sadder, but that's for next time. Anyways.